If you are interested in China and unable to get to the country, or you don't want to go to the country, then you would use the networks like YouTube, Twitter, X. Maybe you could use RedNote now in the United States of America. RedNote is my little red book, which represents Mao's little red book, which was required reading in the good old days of China. And there are two categories, basically. That is, one is pro-China, where you do have the expats who live in China go on YouTube using an illegal VPN to broadcast their findings. And it will be a video similar to this, just be a guy talking, maybe he's on the streets, just doing the point of view and his experience, their experience. And they would be very pro-CCP. CCP is the Chinese government. Many people would call it CPC as well. CCP or CPC, you can use the same. It's okay because China does the same. They will call it both with the governments. You can go and check it out by going to websites like Wayback and then type it in, and then you will find out that the networks have, and sometimes still do, call it the CCP. Regardless of that fact, the other one would be so-called anti-China. Now, this is not against the people of China, it's going to be against the CCP, this communist dictator, authoritarian government, which when we live in the West and we may not like the government, for example, you can still criticize it. In China, you cannot say anything bad. I think it's even against the law to criticize the government, to criticize CCP, and especially the leader, the dictator, the president of China, Xi Jinping. And these are the two categories. You do get many people who go and visit, like a travel vlogger, and they will show you their amazing adventure in China. It is like propaganda to come and visit China and how wonderful it is. You could say similar to people who would go to Thailand and they would go to Bangkok, and you can see how modern it is, and the shopping and the people are smiling, they're happy, but they wouldn't show the traffic jams that would be there. So there are different views that you can find out on the networks at home. What you would find, though, is that the people who live in China and are making money off YouTube illegally by using an illegal VPN would just talk in front of the camera and maybe show a news headline. While the people who don't support the Chinese government would actually show you the videos from real Chinese people who put it on social media and maybe have exported this onto Western media, again using an illegal VPN to put it onto X. So you can see two sides of the story. Which one to believe? Well, that's difficult. When someone says on YouTube there is no homeless people in China, and saying, I've lived in China for 3 months, and saying there's no homeless people, it's sort of like you don't believe them. Related to the problems in America related to fentanyl, and the precursor does come from China. It's exported to Mexico. Mexico makes it, or the cartels make it, and then brought into America. They would deny that, but they don't seem to watch the border security videos that you can get on YouTube, where the customs would find people posting in the precursor into Mexico, into America, so people can make the fentanyl. They would deny that, even though there's video evidence from great channels related to this, like border security, with the video evidence of this coming from China. They would deny that. And of course, the big COVID question, which happened near enough like 5 years ago now, when China in December 2019 actually said, or the Chinese government actually said, COVID is only animal to animal, it's nothing to worry about. I remember speaking to people in 2019, December 2019, about that, and they go, yeah, it's only animal to animal, nothing to worry about. And then the government denied the knowledge that it did come from Wuhan, from the virology lab. At first they said it came from the marketplace and etc., etc. They would say, oh, it came from America, it came from Spain, it came from Italy, it came from Japan, anywhere which had these cases near enough at the same time at the beginning of COVID in 2020. I do watch both channels, and I would say, if you categorize me, it would be anti-CCP, like most people. The CCP are building this mega embassy in London, where the old mint used to be, outside the Tower of London. And this is going to be huge. And people are going to say it's a spy center. The same as you could say any other embassy around the world with any other country. The CIA, MI5, the secret services are going to be there, part of the embassy. So it's your point of view which they're trying to attract the attention to. Who do you believe? Now, many people would say, oh, I live in China, so it's got to be correct. But then they would criticize America, and they've never been to the United States of America. There are many channels like that. I think the travel vloggers, even though they may be paid by a tourist company, which is indirectly related to the CCP, is sort of okay. And they do the same kind of thing. They would share the same information related to what they are showing. Like in Chongqing, it's a mega city, it's a modern city. But personally, Chongqing, before, in 1994, when I went there for the first time, it was really beautiful, but it has been destroyed and turned into a concrete jungle. And at night time, you would see lots of videos about it because it hides the pollution in that city. The pro-CCP videos that you see would never show the dark side of, let's say, Shanghai, where if you go to the poorer areas of that city, and yes, it does have poorer areas, you would see the adult entertainment system, like what happened when you go into a karaoke bar and you get a private room, and then a parade of girls would walk in and you could choose your lady for the night. Obviously, you have to pay for that, but they wouldn't show that. Or maybe a crowded train, the high-speed train, saying it's really advanced, etc., etc., and we have the most amount of train track in the world in one country related to high-speed train. Yeah, that's the case. But look at Spain. Look at France especially. Look at their high-speed network. I would say it is superior to it. They are much smaller countries, granted. They do the same kind of speeds, granted. But they would never go or show you a video of when it's like really crowded, where people are actually standing up. Some travel vloggers do, and they're like doing travel around Asia. And that's more of the reality of China. There is one couple I'm watching, is called Two Mad Explorers, and they are riding a bicycle from Bangkok to Shanghai. And at the moment they're in Laos, or the episodes are up to Laos, but they will get into China, and it will be a different kind of video to watch there. So that will be quite interesting. But in general, there are two sides to these videos that you would see, and all claiming different things. Who I watch, related to China, I would watch China Uncensored. I would watch Serpent ZA. I would watch Laowai 86. I would watch The China Show. I would watch China, what's the one with Tiffany Myers? I've forgotten the name. China in Focus. And a friend of the channel, Free China. Free China, Serpent ZA, Laowai 86, The China Show have lived in China before, working and living. And they have many friends who live, and they may post videos to them directly about the real China, what's happening in China. So do be aware when some of these people who live in China would do these outrageous kind of unbelievable claims. There was one who's been in Beijing, for example, and he's been there 3 or 6 months, something like that. He said, I've never seen a homeless person in Beijing. Either he must be blind or he's just living in communities where these people are maybe not allowed. But it's the same as in Los Angeles. There are homeless people. They're down and out with their luck. They live in tents or they live under a bridge or something like that. And it's not in his lifestyle. So maybe, yeah, he could be very honest and say he's never seen it. But I would say he must be quite blind to the whole situation. So to the viewers of this channel, to the viewers of this video, what do you think? Who do you believe? Is it a mixture? Do you believe the people who lived in China now live in America, or they live in England and they have contacts and they would show videos of things that happen in China? Maybe some are negative, maybe some are funny, and it would be against the awful government of China. Or do you believe the people who live in China, who may be 60-something years old and would obviously be maybe retired, but still do work for local government or liaise with local government? It sort of doesn't make sense related to their visa status, that if you're on a retirement visa, for example, it means you cannot work. But they seem to mention that they do, or maybe go on national TV like CCTV1 or CGTN, I think it is, where they would have an interview with one of the hosts of the show. Weird, but which one do you follow? Which one do you like? Which one do you give the thumbs up to? I hope you give a thumbs up to this channel, because if you give a thumbs up, it means that the authoritarian government will maybe disappear in the future. What I'm trying to say is I find it interesting, and I would say, not anti-China, but anti-CCP. I just don't like the government. And you can see that China's done really well in the last 40, let's say since 1980. So that's now 45 years since it's had an open door policy, and you can go and visit China, you can go and work in China. Even if you choose to, you can even retire in China. Another thing that they would do is about the green energy, like the EV cars, or look at the sky, it's so blue. Now, the pollution in China has, granted, got better compared to, let's say, 2012, where it was absolutely awful in places like Beijing, but you still do get it. And they would deny all this, even though you can go on Twitter, you can put pollution in China, and you can get an up-to-date map of the pollution levels of around the world, and China would be one of the highest thing, and the top would be India, places like New Delhi. But they would deny that fact, and they would oppose it, and they would sort of like redirect you in a different direction. So not giving you two sides to the story, one side. So on my channel, you could say I may do anti-CCP stuff, but you may watch a video related to pro-CCP. So then you have two sides. You just have to do more work for it. I've waffled on long enough for this, and I'm just sharing my point of view related to this. Please do subscribe to the channel. Please do share. Please do like. It helps the algorithm and it helps it grow, yada, yada, yada. You know the routine. Lots of other people would say the same. And I will wish you a happy day wherever you are in the world. My name is James. Bye-bye for now. Cheers.